remain in place until a decision has been made to change it, and that's essentially what reflects, Ernest said. Those emergency declarations must be renewed every year or else they expire. On Wednesday, Obama sent notice to Congress reviewing a 5-year-old emergency against Somalia, declaring that pirates. Yes, the pilots off the coast of Somalia have continued to threaten U.S. national security.
Yes.
There you go. Yes, those damned pilots. Well, let's see. Closing up the show today, we got a couple of stories I got to jam in here because, well, you'll thank me for it, trust me. 6 things you need to know about the NRA convention. There you go. Down U.S. airplanes or sink U.S. ships in the waters north of the island nation. Isn't it good to know that our new black president in 2014 is still facing the same things that Kennedy had to straighten out in 1963? Isn't that? Isn't it good that we're still back there?
Yes.
Yeah. White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest, who the hell is John? Yeah. Said the continuation of the national emergency was scheduled to expire in February unless the president extended it by another year. It was just a pro forma announcement, Ernest said yesterday, reiterating the Latin phrase suggesting that the emergencies are mere formalities. He said the emergency has no bearing on whether the State Department decides to remove Cuba from its state sponsors of terrorism list, which remains a major roadblock towards normalizing diplomatic relations with the communist country. Our policy will remain in place until a decision has been made to change it, and that's essentially what reflects, Ernest said. Those emergency declarations must be renewed every year or else they expire. On Wednesday, Obama sent notice to Congress reviewing a 5-year-old emergency against Somalia, declaring that pirates. Yes, the pilots off the coast of Somalia have continued to threaten U.S. national security.
Yes.
There you go. Yes, those damned pilots. Well, let's see. Closing up the show today, we got a couple of stories I got to jam in here because, well, you'll thank me for it, trust me. 6 things you need to know about the NRA convention. There you go. Yes, the National Rifle Association's annual meeting and exhibits begins Friday and runs through Sunday. Here are the 6 things you need to know about the National Convention. More than 70,000 people are expected out of the 325 million of us. There you go. Second thing you need to know is, of course, how that compares. Well, I just freaking told you.
Yes.
Yeah. Number 3, guns, and more guns. Oh, and this is a good one. Number 4 is they'll have speakers. Yeah. Yeah.
You've got it locked to HTLA Radio 1, New York.
This program is intended for mature audiences only. If you have any homicidal or suicidal feelings, please consult a doctor before listening to this program.
Of course, we've got the one and only Jenny McCartney in the booth, the social media goddess herself, pushing those buttons, making the show go again today. And, the co-hosts. I guess we'll go with the co-hosts. We got some of those, of course, coming to us live via satellite, as always, from his perch, I guess, high atop the Mill Bay Studios in beautiful Mill Bay, British Columbia, Canada. is the one and only Louis Lawless. Yes, high atop there. Are you there, Louis?
You know how to spell my last name on the check, right? It's Louis Lawless.
Yes, we got that. Don't worry.
Oh, can we cuss? Can I cuss as I always do on the show?
Now you go right ahead, sir. We've got you covered.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
All right. And also joining us from his wonderful, beautiful, stately, I must say, apartment in Manhattan here in the big city is the one, the only, what's his name again? Oh, yes, Gilbert Godfrey. Are you ready, sir?
What the fuck?
Huh? Okay.
I'm ready.
Good. All right.
Yes.
All right, Gilbert Godfrey joining us from his lovely home here in the city. And also joining us is, of course, the one, the only George Takei, all the way from his home in Los Angeles, California. George, thank you for coming.
I think it's a treat to be here talking with you.
Yeah. There you go, and thank you. That's awesome. Now, is this thing on?
Yeah. It's on. Is this on? I can't tap it. I would tap it, but I won't do that. So.
There you go.
That's
well,
right. Only one, Meeps. That's us. The only one, HTLA Radio 1 New York, and you're here and you're listening. And this is Straight Talk. And, yeah, we've got 90 minutes of springtime in the city stories for you tonight. And, yeah, lots of social injustice stories. I'm in the mood for ranting. We said we weren't going to do a rant show, but here we are. And it's going to turn into a rant show.
it is, yes.
I can't help but be angry about the stories. You know, there's just too much to be excited about. And everybody's got to bring us down with all this stuff.
Stupidity.
That's right. And, well, we'll talk about that, too, because we've got a great show coming up for you that we've got in development for a little while now. And we're going to launch that Wednesday, and we'll talk about that a bit later. That's pretty exciting. That's called The Spotlight with Kate and Crush.
Absolutely. And tonight, a bit of a free-for-all. We're going to tear it up for you on tonight's Straight Talk. Everything from the day's events to some politics goodiness and the struggle, of course, to maintain home and work. We'll get into it all tonight. Professional businesswomen that I talk to, they do the work, but it's just the corporate work, and they think that's enough because, damn it, I've just put 12 hours a day in today in my job, and
right.
They feel deserving of something else, not to come home and take care of the kids, and not to come home and take care of the husband, and not to come home and take care of anything else.
Right.
It's time for them to kick their feet up now and go hit the bars and relax or something because they've earned it. Right. And I'm here to say that as a man, we do that all the time. We always have. We go out and work our full-time jobs or more.
Right.
And we come home and we're still expected to be the dad. We're still expected to help the kids with the homework. We're still expected to have activities and stuff with our family and have that interaction and put that time in.
Sure.
Maybe that's why we get 100% of our pay instead of 70% of our pay.
Right. Right. Well, you're not... Well, in the tradition now, men are also expected to do half the housework and half of all that stuff, whereas it used to just be before, you know, the garbages and the lawns and all that stuff that you do, the man stuff, you know. So, yes, and unfortunately, in some cases, in a great majority of the households now, more often than not, the women are working, and, you know, I have so many, you know, friends that I know that their husbands take care of the kids and drop the kids at school and do the school activities and do the projects and wash the clothes and do
but with that comes the dreaded beta male, because there's not a single one of those men that I have met that I would look up to in battle.
No, of course not. And this is to our thinking, you know, to our thinking. And while it took us years in practice, it was an ideology that we shared from the moment that we met anyway. Yeah. The whole, you know, that was our vision for what the ideal family was.
Blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? Yeah, you guessed it. It's 3 p.m. Eastern in the big city of New York. Yes, it is. And you still do have it locked to HTLA Radio Uno. Yes, New York's best talk. Thank you very much. And that can only mean one thing. well, it can mean a couple things, actually, but only one thing for today. Today being Friday, the 10th of April, 2015. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed your Coffee and Cigarettes Friday Frappuccino. Yes, it is. Brought to you by the fine folks at Tim Hortons, New York City. Now with those 8 locations in the city to serve all your coffee and baked goods needs. Tim Hortons, always fresh. Yes, it is. Well, today on the big show, Hillary Clinton's test. A third straight Democratic term. Can she get it? While she says she'll have to deal with the, quote, Obama issue, whatever that is. What is that? I don't know. Okay, well, we'll find out. Also, 2 women get the maximum sentences today for running down a black man in their truck. Yeah. Okay, yeah. And I'll tell you about some Canadian dads, some kick-butt Canadian dads, I gotta say, who have driven their sons over 2,000 miles to Kentucky. Yeah, for their first taste of KFC. And, well, yes, of course, there's more. An Air Force general gets the boot over his A-10 Warthog controversy. And the Justice Department is suing Oklahoma University for firing a transgender professor. Well, you know that's going to be fun. Oh, yes. Well, hey, what are you going to do? Well, I'll tell you what you're going to do. You're going to stay right there because we've got that and so much more today. So come on in and grab a cup, have a seat, and indeed, light one up. It's coffee time. Well, there it is. Yes, the theme we all know and love. Well, I do. It's true. Damn it. Welcome to Coffee and Cigarettes for this Friday Frappuccino. A nice end to your week and hopefully a funny little kickoff to your weekend. Of course, I don't do that alone, no. In the booth at HTLA Studio 2 here in downtown Manhattan, of course, is the one, the only former social media goddess, Jenny McCarthy, pushing those buttons, making the show go for your listening pleasure this afternoon. Also, joining us from Mill Bay Studios in absolutely breathtaking, beautiful Mill Bay, British Columbia, Canada, of course, is the one, the only Louis Lawless. Yes, the filmmaker extraordinaire. Are you there, sir?
Can you give me any help for $25,000?
Yes, he's there. Okay.
I go a half an hour. Do I get $50,000?
The check is in the mail, sir.
You know how to spell my last name on the check, right? It's Louis Lawless.
Yes, check with CHEQUE. I will be sure to get that out to you.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
All right, well, moving on today, we've also got the one, the only Gilbert Gottfried, of course, joining us from his beautiful, spacious, lofty mansion suite. Just about 8 blocks away from the Studio 2 here. Nice to see you again.
I'd like to have that as my slogan in life.
What, nice to see you again?
Yes.
Okay. All right, well. Gilbert, nice to see you again, Godfrey. There you go. And it is nice to see you again, Gilbert. It's great to have you here all the time.
Yes.
I'm kidding.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of kidding, yes. We also have joining us from his, I'm sure, multi-million-dollar office in his multi-millions-more-dollar home all the way in Malibu, California, is the one, the only Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm glad you're so excited to be here.
Well, it's just I went way beyond my dreams. I mean, I had dreams to win the world championships in bodybuilding as more often than anyone else, and to become the best of all times. And then I wanted to get into movies, but I was thinking more like to do what the predecessors did, like do the Hercules movies. But then I had no idea that I'm going to go as far and actually do action movies and do comedies and the work and so many different types of films, and to do as many films, and then to get into politics. And that was definitely not part of my dream.
Well, yeah, true. I'll give you that. But, I agree with you, when you say stick with movies like Hercules. And, I'm with you on that. But as far as the rest, though, I don't really see you pushing the envelope. I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Never.
No.
Yes.
Yes, no, what?
Yes.
Well, the affirmatives and the negatives. Yes, Arnold is all over those today.
I think you have sharks in both tanks.
Well, we do, and there's one we've actually shipped over, and it should be in your office right now. And our PA should actually have you strapped up in some chains hanging over the tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay. Yeah, don't laugh, Gilbert. They were there last week. Yeah. We'll put you in that tank.
Yes.
Yes, we will. Well, good afternoon, and welcome to the show. It's going to be a good one today, I think. And well, I know this because of the content of some of the stories that we have.
Yes.
And of course, it's always a bang up show when we start off with, of course, Hillary 2016.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you say that, you get away with it. If I would say that, it would be all over the place.
Well, that's because you're a Republican, Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's see. What's going on with Hillary? Well, she's apparently facing a test. Yes, a third straight Democratic term. Well, Hillary Clinton will announce her presidential candidacy apparently now on Sunday. Yes, it's Sunday. It's Hillary madness.
Yes.
Yeah. It's $10 a seat, but you'll only need the edge. Yes, this Sunday, seeking to become the first woman in history to win the nation's highest office, several news organizations have reported today. Clinton will release a video shortly announcing her long-awaited candidacy and then travel to Iowa to begin planting corn. Oh, no, sorry, not planting corn. She's going to begin campaigning.
Yes.
Well, the Associated Press and the Washington Post, both of which have cited anonymous sources familiar with her plans. They cannot immediately confirm the reports, though Clinton's announcement has been expected for indeed months. Well, in seeking to follow President Obama after his 2 terms in office, she will be trying to buck a historical trend, one recently cited by former President Bill Clinton. Quote, "It's hard for any party to hang on to the White House for 12 years, and it's a long road," Bill Clinton said with an interview with Town and Country magazine. 1,000 things could happen. It's just politicians are just so exact.
Yes.
They're just, yes, precise. That's
Power tends to corrupt.
Yeah.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Well, and there you go. That's absolutely true.
I speak my mind all the time, and they may like it, but then I know that as a whole, I have done a great job.
As a whore? Thank you, Arnold. Yeah, thank you. That's great.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's hard for any... Yes, we read that. Thanks. Since 1948, the Harry Truman won the 5th straight election for the Democrats following Franklin D. Roosevelt's 4 wins. A political party has won 3 straight elections only once, and those were men. It happened in 1988, the year Republican nominee Vice President George H.W. Bush won the right to replace Ronald Reagan. Yes, otherwise, a string of candidates have found it impossible to do what Clinton may try to do, succeed a president from the political party that has held the White House for the past 8 years. Republican nominee Richard Nixon couldn't do it in 1960. Well, there's a shocker. Yes, that after President Dwight Eisenhower's 2 terms, Democratic nominee and Vice President Hubert Humphrey couldn't do it in 1968 after 8 years of John F. Kennedy and Lyndon Johnson. In 2000, Democratic Vice President Al Gore lost his bid to succeed Bill Clinton after 2 terms. In 2008, Republican John McCain lost a presidential election after 8 years of George W. Bush because he couldn't put his hands over his shoulders and he was running with Sarah Palin. Well, hopefully Hillary won't screw up and do the same thing.
Yes.
Although Palin seems to be inching around putting her 2 cents in already.
Yeah.
Well, the main reason 8 years is a long time to build up a presidential record, one that is to be defended by fellow party members, and wow, good luck on this one. Yeah. Is he a Muslim? We don't know. Does he? How old is he? Does he have ID? Who cares? Yeah, like... Oh, and he's going to bring those troops home in 30 days. Oh, and who could forget one of my favorites? 400,000 new jobs, yes. You know, with a record like that, I think Hillary is a shoo-in.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, voters seem more willing to stick with incumbent parties back in the late 19th and 20th centuries. Starting in 1896, 3 Republicans, William McKinley, Theodore Roosevelt, and William Howard Taft, won 4 straight presidential elections. Democrat Woodrow Wilson ended that string of GOP dominance by winning the election of 1912, a race that included both Taft and independent Roosevelt. Thank you. Yes. It's those depends that give you freedom.
Yes.
My God, I'm glad it's Friday. Well, Americans went back to the Republicans after 8 years of Wilson. The Roaring Twenties saw 3 more consecutive GOP wins. Warren Harding in 1920, Calvin Coolidge in 1924, and Herbert Hoover in 1928. Wow, Hillary, does all this crap from the 1920s matter? Well, then came the Great Depression, and Franklin Roosevelt the exception in presidential history after winning elections in 1932 and 36. Roosevelt broke the 2-term presidential tradition with the approach of the Second World War approaching, won a 3rd term in 1940. Roosevelt won again in 1944, and having ascended to the presidency after FDR's death in the next year, Harry Truman extended the Democrats' winning streak to 5 in 1948. Yeah, it's good to have that pen, isn't it? Well, since then, with the exception of Ronald Reagan and the senior Bush, voters have tended to go back and forth with the parties when it comes to picking presidents. Another reason for that is the fact that the Constitution now forbids presidents from serving more than 2 consecutive terms. Not unlike Nixon and Eisenhower, Humphrey and Johnson, Gore and Clinton, and McCain and Bush, Hillary Clinton will be linked with President Obama if she runs in 2016, for better or worse. Some Republican candidates are already arguing that a Clinton victory would mean a 3rd Obama term. Hell knows we all want that. Yeah. Okay, well, maybe we don't want that. I'm going to digress on that. And I'm going to fall back on, today's episode is, of course, brought to you by the fine folks at Tim Hortons, New York City, now with 8 locations in that city to serve all of your coffee and baked goods needs. Let me tell you, that's some good needs. Well, other Hillary news, because we can't just have the one. No, you might start to think that we're a Hillary political camp around here at HTLA, but trust me, that would be ridiculous. No, I'm being quite serious, Gilbert.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't stand the woman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, as Hillary Clinton prepares to pursue the White House, she must, of course, decide how to handle questions about another President Barack Obama. One of the first things she said is, "Well, I'm not black and I'm not a man."
I'm not going to complain about it, right?
I don't know, Arnold. You're Republican. You can.
Yes.
In fact, some would say it's incumbent upon you as an immigrated American to actually do that and complain about it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you never got into Congress or the Senate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Got it right from the horse's mouth there. Well, on the one hand, Clinton could decide to tie herself closely with Obama and his legacy of bastard children all over the U.S. Yeah. She could be Mother Teresa to the little beggars.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, she could also seek to diminish herself from the incumbent on the theory that voters always look for something different when they have change presidents. One of the reasons they went from George W. Bush to Obama in 2008, if you'll remember with me, was change. Yes. And so much change we got.
Yes.
Yes, we did. Well, excuse me, the spouse of ex-President Bill Clinton could and probably will try a combination. Yes, political experts say aligning with Obama on winning issues and distancing herself from her 2008 Democratic primary opponent on other items that he was wrong about. Yeah. Well, when you think about that, Gilbert, for a minute, that's a good strategy. I mean, you suck up and you're close to the guy on the good stuff, and you run away like the plague on the bad.
Yes.
Yeah. She's going to differentiate herself when she thinks it will be popular to differentiate herself, says David Cohen, professor of political science at the University of Akron. Lynn Verbeck, professor of political science and communication studies at UCLA, said Clinton should welcome associations with Obama, especially if the economy continues to suck as bad as it does now. Well, a growing economy is a pretty good indicator of coming voting outcomes, she said. The former Secretary of State has drawn distinctions in her area of expertise, which is foreign policy. Clinton signaled some differences in her book, Hard Choices, including debates with Obama and his team over the civil war in Syria and unrest in Egypt, because she just happens to be an expert on both those countries. Yes. Mm-hmm. Woman is an expert.
Yes.
Well, on Syria, Clinton wrote that she and her officials supported arming the rebels fighting Bashar al-Assad's government. Doesn't she know that's how we made the Taliban? Oh, yes. I remember back in the day, 1974, that little song, My Pet Taliban.
Yes.
Very, very, very best friend. Mm-hmm. My Pet Taliban. Well, there were risks of acting or not acting, Clinton wrote, but the president's inclination was to stay the present course and not take the significant further steps of arming the rebels. She added, no one likes to lose a debate, including me, but this was the president's call, and I respected his deliberations and decision. On Egypt, their positions were somewhat reversed. Clinton and other aides urged caution in calling for the removal of then-President Hosni Mubarak amid demands for his ouster and more democracy by vocal demonstrators in Cairo. It was a thrilling moment, Clinton wrote, but along with Vice President Biden, Secretary of Defense Bob Gates, and National Security Advisor Tom Donilon, I was concerned that we were not to be seen as pushing a longtime partner out the door, leaving Egypt, Israel, Jordan, and the region to an uncertain and dangerous future. Obama eventually made clear that he backed Mubarak's removal from power. It's hard to see how or if Clinton might distinguish herself on domestic issues, as she has publicly embraced many of his initiatives. But other potential Democratic candidates have taken shots at Obama's economic record, and Clinton may be, of course, tempted to follow suit. And it, again, like many stories on Clinton here, it goes on for months. So, of course, me being the awesome dude I am,
yes.
just going to cut it off right there and tell her good luck and see you next year. So yeah, and look at that. It's 3:20. It's time to go for a first commercial break. So we're going to do that, and when we come back, I'm going to tell you about these two women in a truck that ran down a black man and the lovely sentence they just got. We'll be back in 2, gang.
You've got it locked to New York's best talk, HTLA Radio 1.
What if there was a coffee that was sourced from some of the world's most renowned growing regions, abundant with rich, fertile soil? What if this coffee was picked at the perfect moment, then packed meticulously and shipped carefully to be roasted under the watchful eye of coffee masters? What if it was expertly blended, ground, and sealed, ensuring maximum flavor and freshness, then brewed in small batches and always served fresh within 20 minutes, just the way you like it? Now, what if this coffee just happened to be the coffee you already know and love? Tim Hortons, always fresh, always great tasting coffee.
Man, I've been to a lot of places over these past 50 years. Seen the whole true north strong and free. 'Cause I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to Cooksville, Stouffville, Bainesville, Bowmanville, Bonneville, Unionville, Oakville, Dunville, Brockville, Boucherville, Melville, Drummondville, Kentville, Grenville, Morinville, Maryville, Parksville, Stephenville, Sackville, Spring Hill, Westville, Walkerville, hanging on a windowsill. Hey! He said, wow, that's a lot of places. I said, hang on, there's more. I've been to Moncton, Picton, Shannon, Vernon, Stellarton, Hamilton, Nipigon, Nobleton, Yorkton, Brighton, Bolton, Beaverton, Brandon, Edmonton, Walkerton, Wyerton, Granby, Miramichi, Charlottetown, Burnaby, Yellowknife, Whitehorse, Corner Brook, none of it. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. I crossed the prairies bare, man. I breathed the mountain air. I've traveled, I've done my share, man. I've been everywhere, man. Check it out. Ottawa, Wawa, Mattawa, Chippewa, Moose Jaw, Oshawa.
When we arrived at our hotel in New York, the porter was so incredibly careless with our bags. And the room they gave us, it was beautiful. A broom closet. But the worst part was the shower. My wife drying herself with the Egyptian cotton towels. Shower curtain defined that whole vacation for her. Don't just visit New York. Visit TripAdvisor New York.
With millions of reviews, a visit to TripAdvisor makes any destination better.
Some said the U.S. has lost its innovative power. We said America is lighting the way as the innovation nation. Singular insights, superior execution. That's the power of global connections. Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Voted top global research firm 2011, 12, and 13.
West Village at night and you see a couple kissing on the street, or you see someone fighting outside their apartment, or you see so much humanity on a daily basis that even if you're not inspired by your own life that day, you can be inspired by someone else's life.
You got that long hair, slick back, white t-shirt, and I got that good girl face and a tight little skirt. And when we go crashing down, we come back every time, 'cause we never go out of style. We never go out of style. Take me out.
There's only one place to get more Taylor.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
And I remember, and this is why I feel I have a real connection with you, because in the alleyway, when that's the beginning. She bent over in the alleyway, and you inserted yourself, and then she started to blow me, and my erection was kind of a semi-erection because I kept looking at you. So when you're standing there trying to get a blowjob and looking at it's really hard. And then I remember.
Oh man.
I had a hotel room, so we both went up there, and you went first.
Well, Louis, what do you?
My opening act.
Yeah, thank you, Louis. What do you think about Gilbert? What? Yeah.
They get f***ing crazy because all of a sudden nobody loves them.
Yes.
Well, it's a crazy day here. Yes, it is. 3:27 p.m. right now in the big city, the Big Apple. Friday the 10th of April, 2015. It's 51 degrees right now in Central Park, and cloudy, of course. We, Lord knows, can't have the sun. No. And you're kicking it here with yours truly, Chris Crash Jesus Taylor. You got the one, the only Jenny McCartney in the booth, pushing the buttons, making us go. Gilbert Gottfried, Louis the Leo Rivers Lawless there. And, of course, the one, the only Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold, you don't talk too much on these things, and it's a good thing I'm not paying you. But when you do talk, you talk for, like, whole 5 minutes kind of thing without without breathing. I just wanted to say that I thought that was, one of your talents. You've got this ability to just go on and go on and go on,
Look, we always had fun. I think that no matter what you do in life, if you do bodybuilding or if you do hosting a show like you do here, you got to have a good time. Forget about it. You got to be passionate about the job that you have and go all out.
Oh, yeah. Well, we go all out here, that's for sure. Yeah, we do.
I mean, Hollywood is not pretty. I mean, there's some cutthroat going on there, and it's a very dangerous place, actually. And, it's in anything. If you want to be the best, you have to really fight for it, and you have to struggle and have to go through your ups and downs, and you fall often. It's not just like all victories. There's a lot of defeats and then victories again, and defeats, and you pick yourself up again and get up and get going.
All right.
And I'm very fortunate that now, after I've finished the governorship, that I've done 4 movies, and now Last Stand is my first action film where I'm starring in it.
I think Arnold should be the Energizer Bunny.
Yes.
Yeah. Just keeps going and going.
He needs love, Chris. Come on.
Well, I know.
You got to dispense more love from yourself. All these people are hurting here.
Let them hurt. Well, speaking of hurting, I know a couple of women here are going to be doing some hurting. That's right. In Jackson, Mississippi today, 2 women who were in a truck used by a white teenager to run down a black man back in 2011. Finally today received the maximum sentences for their charges in federal court. Judge Henry Wingate sentenced Sarah Adelia Graves to 5 years in prison. Yeah, you're going away for the big 5.
Yes.
Yeah. And, of course, Shelby Brooke Richards to 8 years because, of course, she said, run over the black man. Yes, in her conspiracy to commit hate crimes against James Craig Anderson's death. Graves, 22, of Crystal Springs, and Richards, 21, of Pearl, were in the truck with Daryl Deadman. Yeah. Yes, the night of the hate crime killing Mr. Anderson. Anderson was run down by Deadman's Ford, an F-250, in the summer of 2011. Well, at least he got hit by a quality truck. There you go. Yes, in 2011, when a group of white teenagers left a party in Rankin County and traveled to Jackson with the intent of assaulting African Americans. Yes. Hey, I got an idea, girls. Let's go out and you girls can suck on my 2 teeth and I can go and, and run me down some black man. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we'll do. It's a good idea, yeah. Well, 10 white teens have been charged in Anderson's death and 6 have been sentenced so far in the crime. Both Graves and Richards have pleaded guilty to conspiring to violate the federal hate crime law. Graves' sentencing was set for 9:30 this morning and Richards for 2 p.m. this afternoon, but early problems with an elevator held up the start time. Yes, apparently the Ku Klux Klan were up on 4. Yeah. Well, in emotional statements to Anderson's family, both Graves and Richards apologized for the damage done by Anderson's death. It was the worst decision of my life, Richards said through tears. I followed a lot of people in hate with their hearts, and I'm sorry for the actions I didn't take to save Mr. Anderson's life. Graves said the only memory she has was of his face. That's all she can remember. Yeah, she says, I was a teenager who partied too much and wanted to fit in with the crowd. Once I started hooking for Danny Bonaducci, I knew my life was over.
Yes.
Yeah. Turning to the family in tears, Graves said, I'm so sorry for your loss. Anderson's sister, Barbara Young, addressed the young woman by their names as she gave the victim a statement about the loss of her brother. Quote, you sat, watched, encouraged, and rallied around as my brother was beaten, she said to them. Your thirst for the blood of an innocent African-American caused you to pour more fuel on the fire that has ignited the great Magnolia State of Mississippi. You told them they could have saved her brother rather than encouraging the situation that led to his death. Shelby, Sarah, what if you had grabbed the steering wheel? What if you had called 911? What if you had texted somebody, she said. To which she replied, I did. I was on my Twitter. Like, oh my God. Yeah. Well, the days are never the same. Holidays, birthdays, anniversaries. On a sunny day, all I can see is Craig out there working in the yard trying to do everything he could for his family, and you took his life for no reason, he said. Oh, yes. Anderson's partner, James Bradfield, said that. Yeah. I can read today.
Yes.
He said, and you didn't want to turn yourself in. You thought you'd get away with it. Damn straight, she said. Why wouldn't you think that, huh? He also let Richardson and Graves know that he holds them just as responsible as Daryl Deadman. And he says, you texted everyone that night, but you couldn't call 911. You were as much to blame as if you'd been behind the wheel, he said. Your babies yourselves, but I don't feel sorry for you. You knew full well what you were doing. Both women have admitted to riding in the truck with Deadman when Anderson was killed. They also admitted enlisting others to go with them to Jackson, but during the actual vehicle hit themselves, they said they couldn't attest to anything that was going on because they were in Daryl's lap. Well, there you go. They also admitted to instilling others to go with them to Jackson, which they called Jaffrica. To indeed assault African Americans. Wingate read excerpts from some character letters to the court, putting special emphasis on one sent on Graves' behalf by her mother. Establishing that her mother, Mary Miles Harvey, was in the courtroom, he called her to stand and question her on the statement she made about her daughter. Focusing on the line where Harvey said Graves was not raised to be a racist. He took out the pre-sentencing report and read to her where investigators deemed Graves, quote, a product of her upbringing, end quote. Well, he pointed out where Graves had told investigators that her mother used to tell her and her brother that they were living like, okay, niggers. Yeah. That's a quote. What do you want me to do?
Yes.
I'm bringing the news here. Come on. I just meant that their rooms were nasty like a pigsty. Wingate asked her what she considered a slur to mean, and she said, "An ignorant, nasty person. I was taught in school that a nigger..." I got to do this. It's a quote.
Yes.
I know these court hearing testimonies can be hard to hear.
Yes.
Yeah. It was a nasty person, and a Negro was a black person, she said. She told the judge she doesn't feel her daughter was guilty of anything but drinking and giving too much head. Well, there you go. They're away for the next 5 to 8 years.
Yes.
Yep. 5 to 8 for, well, blowing Daryl. You know, you got to watch it down there in the South. When a man asks you to go to Jackson with him, you know he wants something.
Yeah.
Right? Well, let's turn the tables now on the big show here today for Friday. Let's lighten things up a bit. Let me tell you about some Canadian dads who drove their sons over 2,000 miles to Kentucky to get their first taste of KFC, and I'm not even kidding. The first KFC restaurant in Canada opened back in 1953, just a year behind its finger-licking U.S. counterparts. At the end of the last year, there were 650 KFC restaurants scattered throughout the country, but none of those were right for Brian Lufty, who loaded his 2 sons and another father and son's team into a van and drove 2,090 miles from Montreal to Corbin, Kentucky. Why? Well, all to have a meal at Colonel Sanders' first restaurant. Yes, it's still there. The trip required 34 hours of driving time over the course of 5 days, 2 Canadian provinces and 5 U.S. states, but it was worth it for Lutfi and his longtime friend Neil Janna to give their sons a chance to have their first taste of KFC in Kentucky. And the fathers and sons filled up on history before they dug into their buckets of chicken. Their first stop was Harlan Sanders' birthplace in Henryville, Indiana, followed by his Louisville gravesite before stopping at the headquarters of Yum Brands, which owns KFC. When Brian called me up a few weeks ago, he asked me if I'd like to have a bite of KFC, and I said, yeah. But when he said, I mean, driving to KFC in Kentucky, I told Brian, you're joking, right? He said, no, I'm not. We've had a blast. Everybody's been so friendly and so accommodating. It's all been fantastic. Really? You said that on all on the phone weeks ago? Okay. All right, yeah, I already did the trip once this week.
Yes.
Well, when the 6 stereotypically polite Canadians finally pulled into the Sanders Cafe, Lutfi presented the general manager, Dennis Overby, with gifts including maple syrup, of course, and some Montreal area KFC buckets that were printed in both English and French. Lutfi asked him, we traveled over 2,000 miles to have dinner here. Has anyone driven that far to get here? Overby says, no, I don't think so. It's frickin' chicken, you dumb Canadian. Yes, you might have French on your baskets, but it's the same damn chicken inside.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, although it was his son's very first taste of the 11 secret herbs and spices used at every other KFC location on the planet, Lutfi actually had been to the Sanders Cafe twice before. In 1985, he stopped in for a meal, binged on the Colonel's history, and took some Polaroids of himself standing in front of a commemorative plaque outside the restaurant. But Lutfi said, we left to go back north, and on the way back, I looked at the picture, read it again, and realized there was information on the other side of the plaque. Well, that warranted a second trip in the mid-1990s to, quote, read the other side of the damn plaque. Yes, and so he did. He told these stories to his sons, who urged him to take them on this special road trip. Their 2-hour dinner was delicious. The important thing about this trip is don't be afraid to have fun, Lutfi said. Well, that's probably the most important lesson in life, I think.
Yes.
I would say if you're looking for some life lessons on this show,
Yeah.
well, you've come to the wrong place, but But sincerely though, this would be one of the good ones.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you agreed, Arnold, or are you just a zombie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well. He said the trip had been the top of his family's, here we go, bucket list. Never has that term seemed so literal. So there you go. Crazy Canadians from Montreal making it all the way down to good old Kentucky for some KFC. There you go. That's,
Bullshitters, never keep your mouth shut, always hustling, always looking for something to do and putting things together. That's American. Look how they took the country away from England.
well, yeah. But, it's I still think it's nice to see, in this day and age when nobody wants to spend any time with their bloody kids anymore. This is a good thing. I mean, Arnold, you've got some, I guess they're teeny boppers there. You'd take them to KFC in Kentucky, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Well, don't hold back now. Give us the whole deal, the full meal deal, as it were.
Yes.
I would say that there were several movies that failed.
Movies.
And but at the same time, I have to say that I did not regret making any of them.
Movies.
Because at the time, they all sounded good. At the time, to me, they all seemed like they were great career moves. It's always easy to be smart in hindsight and to look back and say, that was a mistake. But it doesn't happen.
Arnold?
I mean, I think the important thing really is to learn from those mistakes.
Arnold.
And then to move forward in a better way and in a smarter way. Because to me, life is short and you want to pack in as much as you can while you live rather than just exist.
No. You done? Yeah? Okay. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm asking, if you would, take your kids out to KFC in Kentucky there.
Well, I think that it's a very difficult thing to answer because, in a way, even the day when I won the 7th Mr. Olympia title, I felt like, I was not in great shape.
Yeah.
All righty.
Let me tell you something. It's all crazy.
Okay. Yes. You've lost it.
He needs love, Chris. Come on.
Well, I know.
You got to dispense more love from yourself. All these people are hurting here.
Well, I certainly ain't driving everybody down to KFC. I'll tell you that. Not going to do that. But I will tell you about the next story on the big show today in the coffee shop here. It takes us all the way up to Washington, D.C., or, well, of course, for me, it'd be down. Yeah. Yes, the Air Force fires a general over the A-10 Warthog controversy. Now, what the heck is this, you might say? Well, I don't know. Shut up and listen.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Air Force officials announced Friday that they have fired a 2-star general who told junior officers that they would be committing treason by speaking with members of Congress about attempts to retire the A-10 attack plane. An investigation found that the effective remarks made in January by Major General James Post, a senior officer at Air Combat Command, had a, quote, chilling effect, end quote, on some of the 300 airmen who had heard them and their lawful right to express their concerns to Congress. Air Force leaders want to retire the A-10, its main warplane, for close air support of troops on the ground, and use the $4.2 billion saving to help pay for the F-35 fighter. The F-35 was designed for multiple roles, including close air support. Supporters of the A-10 say it was built specifically for close air support and does that job better and far cheaper than the F-35. And, I got to agree. I've seen that plane in action, and damn, look the hell out. That's something you don't want to screw with right there. It's
yes.
It kind of reminds me of Arnold's maid. Yeah. You don't want to screw with her.
Never.
No. And you're still married. I can't believe that.
I'm married.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not divorced yet.
Well, just give it a minute. Yeah. Well, a prominent A-10 supporter, Senator John McCain, and the Arizona Republican who chairs the Armed Services Committee, asked for the investigation into Post's remarks, which were made at a conference in January at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada. McCain believes the Air Force made the right decision in firing Post, according to Brian Rogers, a spokesman for McCain. Post, in a statement released by the Air Force, acknowledged that his, quote, impromptu remarks, end quote, had caused the controversy and that he did not intend to prevent airmen from speaking to Congress. He apologized to the airmen and said that he agreed with the decision that he should be fired. The Air Force Inspector General concluded that Post's remarks had not prevented airmen from going to Congress with their concerns because none of the witnesses interviewed had expressed an interest in doing so. But his position and choice of words could be viewed as an attempt to squelch criticism. Or, if you're a two-star general, it could be construed as, an order, airman. As you speak to Congress, I'll string you up.
Yes.
There you go. Well, now we get into the transgender fun. Yeah. Everybody ready for transgender fun?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah? Everybody good? Louis, are you ready for some transgender fun?
It's just life, and I love doing it. I love doing these kind of stories.
I bet you do. I bet you do, my friend. Yeah. Well, the Justice Department is suing Oklahoma University for firing a transgender professor. Yeah. Southeastern Oklahoma State University is in hot water with the Department of Justice after allegedly firing a professor for transitioning from male to female during her time at the school. Yeah. I don't know now. I'm kind of confused. Yes. Well, Southeastern Oklahoma State University is in hot water with the Department of Justice after allegedly firing a professor for changing, damn it. Yes, the Justice Department recently announced a lawsuit against Southern and the Regional University System of Oklahoma for violating Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, back when we all knew about transgenders and had the technology to change them. Yes. By discriminating against a transgender employee on the basis of their sex. And of course, subsequently retaliating against her.
Yes.
When he complained about the discrimination. There you go. Well, Rachel Tudor, an English and humanities professor at Southeastern Oklahoma State University, presented as a man when she was hired as an assistant professor back in 2004. Prior to the 2007 and 8 school year, she told the university administration that she'd be transitioning. Oh, hold all my calls, Jen. I'll be transitioning. Yes. Oh, yes. When she applied to the tenured position of associate professor in 2009, her application was denied, overruling, according to the Justice Department filing, the recommendations of her department chair and other tenured faculty from his department. Well, at the end of 2010 and 11's academic year, Southeastern and Russo terminated Tudor's employment because she had not obtained tenure. When Tudor was fired, 2 petitions went up online. One at change.org. It closed with only 300 supporters. And, of course, one on the petitionsite.com that generated, a whole smoking 4,000 signatures. I've personally had class with this woman, and she is one of the best teachers I have ever had and had planned on taking more classes with her in the future, says former student Shannon Hutchison. She wrote on the change.org petition. This campus is just teaching the students that it is not okay to be themselves. We may live in the Bible Belt, but we do not live in Jerusalem circa 0001 BC. Well, if you did, you wouldn't have had the problem because we didn't have the surgeons. There you go. Yeah, it makes me wonder, going back, that whole smoking 25 or 27 years,
yes,
that we've actually had the ability to cut a man's penis off.
Yes.
And I guess as Arnold would say, make a hole.
I think that the need stems from that partially because I think of the women's liberation.
Oh, yeah?
I think that the women's liberation had a lot to do with it because they have, men have felt, especially in America, to a certain extent powerless because women kind of have taken over the power. And I think that there was a reaction to that. But now, of course, it has changed because now the people are back kind of to a normal situation where women realize, that it's not just about going out and getting the equal job and the equal pay and all this, but there's something also nice about being a woman and being in touch with being a woman and raising a family and make that the ultimate challenge because women have not really made themselves ultimately happy with all the kind of things that they have tried. And I think that I was the benefactor of all of those things in a way of, the guys felt very insecure about all that stuff. They all ran to the action movies where they could see a guy kicking butt and being in total control of himself and the situation.
Right. But let me clarify, Arnold, you're not actually, you're not coming out and saying you're transgender, right?
Never. No.
Well, thank God for small mercies.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So we don't know the outcome of that case, but we will. Again, it goes on for, many paragraphs, but no. No, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to do that to you. We do have to go for our second commercial break, though. And when we come back, I'm going to tell you about those NRA gun gurus who are just gushing over Johnny Cash's Civil War gun. I didn't know Johnny Cash was that old. It's got to be pretty old if he was in there with his gun there. So, yeah, whatever. We'll be back in 2.
You've got it locked to New York's best talk, HTLA Radio 1.
Man, I've been to a lot of places over these past 50 years. Seen the whole true north strong and free. 'Cause I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to Cooksville, Stouffville, Bainesville, Bowmanville, Bonnieville, Unionville, Oakville, Dunville, Brockville, Boucherville, Melville, Drummondville, Kentville, Grenville, Morinville, Maryville, Parksville, Stephenville, Sackville, Spring Hill, Westville, Walkerville, hanging on a windowsill. Hey! He said, wow, that's a lot of places. I said, hang on, there's more. I've been to Monton, Picton, Shannon, Vernon, Stellarton, Hamilton, Nipigon, Nobleton, Yorkton, Brighton, Bolton, Beaverton, Brandon, Edmonton, Walkerton, Wyerton, Granby, Miramichi, Charlottetown, Burnaby, Yellowknife, Whitehorse, Corner Brook, Nunavut. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. I crossed the prairies bare, man. I breathed the mountain air. I've traveled, I've done my share, man. I've been everywhere, man. Check it out. Ottawa, Wawa, Mattawa, Chippewa, Moose Jaw, Oshawa.
It could be 7 in the morning.
Or 10 at night.
In Chilliwack, BC.
Or St. Peter's, Nova Scotia.
It could be Michelle.
Or Mark.
Or Jen.
But whenever.
Wherever you order that cup of Tim Hortons Premium Blend Coffee. You know that it's always.
Always.
Always. Fresh.
From Newfoundland and Labrador to Vancouver Island, Tim Hortons, a coffee all our own.
Booking dot, yeah.
Some said the U.S. has lost its innovative power. We said America is lighting the way as the innovation nation. Singular insights, superior execution. That's the power of global connections. Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Voted top global research firm 2011, 12, and 13.
I've been so inspired by being in New York because everything from what people are wearing on the street to the way they're interacting with each other to drive through the West Village, at night and you see a couple kissing on the street, or you see someone fighting outside their apartment, or you see so much humanity on a daily basis that even if you're not inspired by your own life that day, you can be inspired by someone else's life.
You got that long hair, slicked back, white t-shirt, and I got that good girl face and a tight little skirt. And when we go crashing down, we come back every time, 'cause we never go out of style. We never go out of style. Take me
There's only one place to get more Taylor.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
I think you need that in order to be successful, in order to really be extraordinary in the profession that you do.
Well, I think it's just the size of your penis. I do. Yeah, absolutely. You got a huge one.
When you say that, you get away with it. If I would say that, it would be all over the place.
Come on, tell us the truth. It's a good 13 inches, right?
I'm not going to complain about it, right?
Okay. Well, welcome back to the big show, the big program here, HTLA Radio 1, New York's best talk. It's 3:57 in the afternoon right now, 52 degrees in Central Park, cloudy, but tonight's low is only 50, so I'm pretty happy about that. I don't know about you all.
Didn't you read the goddamn script? I sent it to you.
Yes, Louie, of course. Today's show is, of course, brought to you by the fine folks at Tim Hortons, New York City. Now with 8 locations in that city to serve all your coffee and baked goods needs, get down there and see them. Tim Hortons always fresh. And we're just kicking it here this afternoon with good old Louis Lawless up in Mill Bay, British Columbia, Canada. And, well, my good friend here, Gilbert Gottfried the Parrot in the city here. And, of course, the one, the only Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Fantastic.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
He likes it when you talk to him Arnie style. Yeah. Yeah. So welcome back. Friday, April 10th. Geez, before you know it, we're going to be into summer. Weather's looking good, at least in the Northeast here this weekend. So if you're out and about, get out and about. Yeah. And if you're not, then get out there anyway, because, well, you just got to get out there. Damn it.
Yes.
Oh, welcome. Yes, welcome. What the hell am I doing? I don't know.
So I could see you feel very uncomfortable talking. Now there was another time you were when I know you're very secretive about your drug problem.
Yeah, I used to be. Yeah. Yeah, I used to be a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I did, but no, it's all good now. I'm over my what the hell am I on? Methadone or something?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm all over that now, and I'm getting better with each and every passing day. Thank you very much for your heartfelt well wishes. There.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
All right, well, moving on. Yep, you got it. NRA gun gurus are gushing over Johnny Cash's Civil War gun. In Nashville today, the Colt Model 1860 Army revolver may be a prevalent Civil War weapon, but the one Gene Ferguson carried onto the set of the NRA Gun Gurus has a backstory like no other. As the cameras rolled today, Ferguson explained that the show host Phil Schreier and his good friend Johnny Cash had gifted them the firearm, as well as its box, about 50 years ago. The gun came with a signed letter from the country music legend acknowledging the gift. Quote, "I was just tickled to get this. It was very close to the whole Cash family," Ferguson said, "and I couldn't be happier. The gun and Ferguson are one of 30 stories that will be featured in the upcoming season of NRA Gun Gurus, says Jeremy Green, a spokesman for the National Rifle Association of America. They were filmed today during NRA's National Convention, which is being held this weekend at Music City Center in Nashville. The outdoor channel is hosted by NRA's museum curators Schreier and Jim Supika. Similar to the appraisers on PBS Antiques Roadshow, the gun experts talk about the history behind the weapon and estimate its worth. The 2016 season will run from January through June, Green said. A lot of these guns have sentimental value, and they've been passed down from generation to generation, or there's historical value, Green said. Schreier estimated the Colt Model 1860 Army revolver in good condition as Ferguson would fetch about $3,500 on a really strong day. Are you kidding me? $3,500. Really? For Johnny Cash, just side iron? Really? Oh, well, you know, if you've got the box, that would bump it up to $4,500.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Well, let me say that's a steal, and if it's available, I'm picking it up. Yeah. Well, Ferguson is not interested in selling, of course, so I'll have to have him killed and dumped. Yeah, he says, all of that is immaterial to me because at the present, it's from a friend of mine, Ferguson said, and you can't buy that kind of good. Well, Ferguson said the revolver is one of several guns that Cash had given him during their decades-long friendship. Come on, Ferguson. Well, come on. You got more. Give me one. It's not like I'm going to go to the White House and draw down on President Obama. Oh, well, wait. Yeah, that's exactly what I do with it.
Yes.
Yeah. Blow that man away. Yeah, it'd be just like that scene from Dirty Harry, wouldn't it? Obama would be all out of breath, laying on his back on the White House lawn. There'd be cars blown up everywhere. I'd be like, in all that excitement, I don't remember, was that 4 shots or 5? Yeah. Well, do you feel lucky, punk? Well, do ya? Well, Ferguson told the Tennessean that he and Cash shared a love of firearms, and Cash gave him the revolver while they were in Las Vegas on a trip for whores. We were doing something. I don't remember what it was. It was Vegas. And Johnny said, I want you to have it. There you go. That's the Johnny Cash gun story right there, man. You know that's exciting stuff. You know, just to look at that thing. I mean, it's got to be what, 22 inches long. Oh, I guess that beats Arnold. Yes. Well, moving along, I got some, a little bit more serious news before the 2 ridiculous freaking stories I have to close the show today. The feds are charging a Kansas man with a Fort Riley bomb plot. A 20-year-old Kansas man was arrested today in a federal sting operation that charged with plotting to detonate a suicide bomb at Fort Riley Army Base on behalf of, yes, the good old Islamic State. Frickin'. You know, John Thomas Booker Jr., yes, an obvious Muslim.
Yes.
Yes, was arrested in Manhattan, Kansas without incident near the base. He was allegedly taking the final steps to carry out his plan, U.S. Attorney Barry Grissom told reporters at a news conference in Kansas. Authorities allege that Booker also charged under alias, oh, yes, this is his online name, Mohammed Abdullah Hassan. Yeah. Of course it is, you idiot. Yes. You know, Mohammed Abdullah Hassan, I think I got more Islam in me than you. Suck it.
You filthy American pigs. No longer would my men be forced to bow down to your pantyhose wearing imperialism. Each week, We will raise pillars of holy fire in each of your cities until our demands are met.
Yeah, so you think you're a badass? Yeah. My audio production blows you away.
Yes.
There you go. Well, the authorities allege that Mohammed Abdullah Hassan has even complimented with martyr video, of course, on YouTube. Yes. Oh, well, the operation, however, was part of an elaborate sting that the FBI had been running since November. The explosive device was actually inert, and the suspect never got onto the base, authorities said. The complaint alleges Booker told another person, quote, that detonating a suicide bomb is his number one aspiration because he couldn't be captured. Yes, that's definitely a good strategy there. Blow yourself up before the authorities can blow you up. Yeah. Yes. There you go. Well, he apparently picked Fort Riley as a good target because, quote, the post is famous. There are a lot of soldiers stationed there. Oh, that's good. Fort Riley, home to the 1st Infantry Division, is located about 100 miles west of Kansas City. Booker was charged with attempting to use a weapon of mass destruction and providing material support for a foreign terrorist organization, Islamic State or ISIL, which controls large parts of Syria and Iraq and has nothing to do with Canvas, you retard. Yeah, Canvas or Kansas. Yeah. It's Friday. What do you want?
Yes.
Well, the federal complaint says the FBI first learned of Booker at a time that a new Army recruit last April after receiving complaints about some alleged postings that, of course, he had placed on Facebook. Yes. I'm going to blow up the White House and I'm going to post it on Facebook first so I'm captured. Yes. Yes, after receiving, yes, on Facebook, in which, of course, he said he was going to wage jihad. That's what you got to do these days, you know. The authorities said that he was interviewed at the time by FBI and allegedly admitted it to enlisting in the Army with the intent to commit an insider attack similar to one at Fort Hood in Texas in 2009 that left 13 people dead. The authorities said Booker was subsequently barred from joining the military. Booker's new plot allegedly took shape again in October, the complaint said, when Booker allegedly spoke to an FBI informant about his desire to engage in, quote, violent jihad. Now, the complaint said he then approached a second informant about getting in touch with the terrorist organization. He allegedly told the informant that he would make a martyr video and then immediately capture and kill American soldier. Yes, just one. The intent, he allegedly claimed, was to scare this country and tell people that we'll be coming after American soldiers in the streets. Now, the complaint said Booker then met with a second informant who he believed was a high-ranking sheik planning terror attacks in the U.S. He thought nothing of the suit and tie.
Yes.
Yeah. The complaint charges that Booker then rented a storage locker near his apartment in Topeka and began buying components for a bomb. The same day, the complaint says Booker told the initial informant that he wanted to be the one to push the switch when the time came. Well, nearly 50 Americans have been charged in the last 2 years with trying to join the terrorist group or are suspected of taking action inspired by the lovely group known as is. Yeah. Well, the final two stories today, and these are fun. These are fun. These are really fun. Apparently, I'm just, I don't write this stuff, okay? I'm just going to say that right now. I don't write this stuff. This is not me. And, so I'll just qualify this right now.
Didn't you read the goddamn script? I sent it to you.
Louis, you're always with the script.
Yes.
I don't know what that is, but what the hell. Well, according to the news, this is not me, this is the news. I hope I've qualified this enough. Oh, dear God. Apparently, we're mildly obsessed with Lauren Conrad's Minnie Mouse collection at Kohl's. Yeah. Yes, apparently Kohl's has successfully combined two of your favorite things, Minnie Mouse and Lauren Conrad. Yeah. Okay. I don't even know who she is. I feel like I'm lost or something.
Yes.
Maybe I've been too long out in the desert in my tent with my brethren. Well, Conrad has apparently developed a Minnie Mouse-inspired line of clothes for Kohl's. Between the bold reds and dark blues and the vintage silhouettes and the polka dots, we're definitely into it. The people who wrote the story, not me. No. Don't worry, I'm not going to come out and be transgender. I'm not going to do that. It's not me. Well, the 20-piece collection has dresses, sporty separates, even shoes. The collection will be available in stores and online starting May 10th. And, yes, they've put out some lovely photos of the complete Disney costume ripoffs. Yeah. Well, and if that wasn't fun enough for you, finally, the final story on today's show, of course, is, well, it's the Kardashians. It is, and we don't normally do, well, anything to do with the Kardashians because we're in the entertainment industry. Yeah. So we don't touch them with a 20-foot pole.
Yes.
But, yeah. Well, Kim and Khloe Kardashian are continuing their visit and their fashion parade through Armenia. Yeah, the sisters who are in their ancestral homeland. Oh, is that where they're from? Okay. Yes, they're in their ancestral homeland with Robert Kardashian, is of course, Armenian descent. And Kim's hubby Kanye West and daughter North have been drawing crowds wherever they go. They've also been wearing coordinating outfits. Oh, yes. Khloe posted on Facebook a photo of a certificate granting her and her sister Kim, their families, a plot of land which they can build their dream hut. Look at that. That's so great. Well, cameras are following their every move, of course, in part for later use on the E! reality show. Who the hell wants to go to Armenia with them? Well, the cameras also belong to hundreds of fans who have gathered outside their hotel and have been following them wherever they have gone. Really? How do Armenians even afford a camera? How do they do that? I don't know, but okay. Kim Kardashian is a lady who's known worldwide. We should be happy she came here, says Parliament Speaker Gulst Sakhan, reports the Associated Press. Kim and Khloe have both been documenting the trip and sharing photos. On Thursday, they even met with the Prime Minister, Hovik Abrahamian. And, you know, when it comes to heads of state, there's no Americans I can think of better suited to sending than the Kardashians. Well, no, okay, wait a minute. Maybe a possible exception of Hillary Clinton. Yeah. Oh, God.
Power tends to corrupt. Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Wow. Thanks, Louis. Well, gang, that is it. That's all the time we got for today. I want to thank, HTLA Radio 1 for not firing me yet. Of course, Louis Lawless, the one, the only. Thank you for being here today again, my friend. It was good having you.
Which woman are you married to or living with now? The same one? The mother of the daughter, or was it a boy?
No, I'm transsexual now. This is my girly voice.
Sex is only the tip of the iceberg.
Well, I know, and one day I might get it right.
Yes.
Yeah. Also want to thank, of course, Gilbert Godfrey. Thank you, sir, for being here again.
Thank you for listening and support the show for the love of God.
God, geez, relax. And we wouldn't be anywhere, of course, without the one, the only Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold, thank you for being here again today.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, and I'll be back.
Yeah, you will, but you'll be single. Well, get out there and enjoy the weekend as much as you can. We'll be back here for you Monday at 3 o'clock Eastern for, of course, your Monday Mocha with all these crazy critters. Yes, that means you too, Iago.
Yes.
And you guys all have a great weekend, and we'll catch you Monday. Have a good one.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.